it's important maybe for someone. And if it wasn't for this experience, I would not be alive. And I have to be honest about that. And if I stood up here and acted like I just am a real creative person and I just write songs and everything's just, it's just all me, whatever, that would be a big fat liar, because it's not true. I had, when I was younger, I hated myself and I hated people and I hated God. And if you talk to me about God, I hated you the most. And the only people I didn't hate were people who hated people. And then we were probably friends. And the thing is that because I was so full of hatred and I'd seen so many bad things that I was hated when people talked about God, and I probably would not have made it through this concert if I was me at my age when I was 15 or 16 before this experience. Because I think I talked about God at some point already. Yeah, I talked about Jesus earlier. And I probably would have walked out. And if you're like that and you hung in here, I just want to thank you. Because I understand what it's like to not want to hear anything about religion or God. Because I thought it was a broken chair that people needed to know nobody's going to be there for you. You're going to be alone. You have to figure out how to be strong by yourself. And the part about being without that and having to be strong enough and to be God for yourself and everybody else is that it's too much weight. And I wasn't a very good God for myself. And I really hurt my soul. I didn't realize I was doing that. Somebody told me, well, that's not good for your heart. God said don't do that. I'm like, well, where can I go do that? You're not going to control me. And so the more I went that way, the deader I felt inside. Because I was disconnecting myself from the life source. And the deader I felt, the more I went on my inside matched my outside, and so I planned to commit suicide when I was 16. And on that day I planned to commit suicide, I had this crazy, kind of like a near-death experience. And I wrote about it in A Reason. And I'm telling you right now, I've told this story a lot of times. But lately, it's harder to tell it because the reality of what happened is more present to me lately. And I don't know how to explain that. I don't know how to explain it very well. I feel like I'm always cheapening it a little bit when I tell this because I can't explain it. But I'm going to trust that if there's something you need to hear in this, you're going to hear it. That God will help you, because the thing is, you can't explain seeing God. But I had an encounter with Him, and I knew first of all that I was not a mistake. And I felt like a burden and another mouth to feed. My mom had 6 kids. She was a single mom. I was the second, and I felt like a burden. She was a teen mom, and I felt like a burden and a mistake and an accident and always in the way. And I thought I was going to make people's lives better if I just wasn't here. And let me tell you how dumb that is. It's complete ridiculousness to think that my little sister's life would have been better if I would have taken my life. When something's out of that cloud of deception, I can see the life for what it is. If that's ever something that goes to your mind, there's something called intrusive thoughts, and they just come and they just are maybe sometimes you're picking up someone else's thoughts. We're like not just physical beings. Sometimes we catch what somebody else is feeling. You walk into a room where somebody's depressed and you're like feel real depressed all of a sudden. Like we catch things. We're made like that. Sometimes the thoughts we're thinking aren't even ours, they're somebody else's. But that lie was the one I believed that made me go full forward into this plan. And it was crazy because I ended up getting interrupted by an encounter with God. And I know people who made this plan that didn't survive. It's people I love. People that I stood by because they had tried before and failed, and then they tried and succeeded later. And I don't know why I survived except to talk to you tonight. Maybe. There's all kind of reasons, but I don't know. But here we are all breathing today. And what I knew was that I was not a burden. When I saw God, I was like, whoa, first of all, this is terrifying because I didn't believe in this. And second of all, you made me. He's my creator. You're going to know that. You'll recognize that. He's perfect love. And I was full of hate. And and that's made it even more terrifying. He's perfect love. I was full of hate, and I wanted to run. And you know this story at the beginning, and Adam hid, because it's not that God turned away. Adam hid. God went after him. Why are you hiding? Where are you at? And I was like, I never felt anything but love. But I was like, I do not deserve this. And wanted to run and hide. But he's perfect light. So nowhere to hide. I had blamed. I spent a lot of my time blaming other people and pointing my finger always at somebody else. I spent a lot of time doing that. And when I was there, I knew that all my choices were my own choices. I was free. I made free choices. And I knew that my hatred was my own. I couldn't blame anybody for it. And I recognized, oh my gosh, I wasted so much of my life doing that. And then I remember realizing too, when I came out of that, time is a gift. Time. Because I was in eternity. Everything's there. It's all present. They say life flashes before your eyes. It's just there. Your whole life right there. And now, right here, we have time. Meaning we can remember the past. We can make a different choice today and move forward and do something different. And you know, why does, like we were talking about earlier, the meet and greet, why does anybody have a kid on purpose? So you could share your love. It's the same reason why God makes us. So he can show us love. Then we can learn it. You have time to learn that love tonight. You have time. And that's my prayer for you guys. My hope, my desire for the songs is that you would feel that love for you. That you're not a mistake, that your DNA is different from anybody who's ever lived and ever will live. You're uniquely made as his art, like no one else. And there's a reason. Something about the art says something about the artist. And you're beautiful. You're beautiful. I know that sounds like a weird thing to say from a stranger, but I came out of that experience fascinated by human beings. Because you each have something to say about God, and you have freedom. And you can use that created in God's image to look like a demon. But you can use it also to look like this amazing, beautiful love that doesn't make sense. And you know when it looks the most like him? When you're suffering with someone. When you're suffering, that's just here for a minute. When you're suffering with somebody and you don't need to, that's like the craziest, like, divine love you can have. It's crazy. And we can experience that for a minute. For just a minute. And then no more. Suffering's over. Isn't that cool? That's cool. You're going to be in front of him. Anyway, I want to tell you that because you're very, 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 very loved. You're very loved and you're not alone. And you're beautifully made. And you're intentional and you're not a mistake. And you're not a burden. And I'm thankful to be with all of you tonight. This song is about that. And then we have one more after that. That was a very long speech and Josh didn't tell me to stop talking one time.